At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Milwaukee Brewers. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. For great deals on Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, visit buyfordnow.com. By Verizon, the most awarded network is now the best streaming network. By Cash for Life from the New York Lottery, you could win $1,000 a day for life. And by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. Manager touched by gold. 11-1 to start his managerial career as Mickey Callaway. He's had plenty of help. Todd Frazier has joined the ball club, and he has put on a spectacular show. Jay Bruce back and better than ever. And Michael Conforto just getting started. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets try and keep it rolling. They go for their 10th straight win as they take on the Milwaukee Brewers. Last night, Todd Frazier, who had contributed in so many other ways, hit his first 2 home runs as a Met.
Well, I tell you what, Todd came over here from the Yankees last year, hit 40 home runs 2 years ago, 27 last year. He's a different hitter now this year. Last year he began to walk more. He's using right field more. I think the short right field fence in Yankee Stadium probably helped him. He took advantage of that right field, a bigger ballpark here at Citi Field. He's gotten a lot of big hits. He's solidified the defense. But in the clubhouse, he has brought the intangible. He is one of those bumps on a log kind of guy. He gets along with everybody. He's inspiring. He comes and plays hard every day. He's a blue-collar player. It's a great addition to this ball club.
And the purveyor of the salt and pepper as well. Well, Frazier had a lot to do with the Mets getting the lead last night, and then Jerry Familia had everything to do with holding it in the ninth. He's gotten better and better as this great start for him has gone on.
Well, I think the key for any sinker ball pitcher, even with the nasty stuff that Familia has, is work. The more work he seems to get, the better command he has. If you're taking a bat against Familia, how do you challenge him? You got to hope he throws strikes. He's not only throwing strikes with his sinkers, but he's always also throwing it off the plate when he needs to go along with that split finger and the slider.
Only the 5th pitcher in Major League history to pick up 7 saves in his team's first 12 games, the first since Heath Bell in 2009. Mets go for 10 in a row tonight at Citi Field. All the action coming your way on SNY. Getting advice, not always the case. Sometimes the young guys can help each other.
Conforto's like a prodigy, so it makes sense.
Download the app, play for free, and start your streak for a chance at $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today. Matt Harvey makes his third start of the year for the Mets. First one really good, second one only so-so in D.C.
You know, when I'm watching Matt now, it's kind of like baby steps. His last 10 starts, he's not gone more than 5 innings. He's got to keep the ball in the ballpark. That's going to be his key.
And the best pitcher the Milwaukee Brewers can send to the mound, Chase Anderson, will pitch tonight for them.
You know, the best thing about Chase Anderson, last year he only gave up 14 home runs and 141 in the third innings pitch, but this year 4 and 10 innings pitch. So he has struggled to keep the ball in the park.
He has developed his curveball and cutter and become a complete pitcher. Matt Harvey will take on Anderson and the Brewers tonight as the Mets look for their 10th straight win. First pitch coming up. Matt Harvey, on whom the spotlight has shined the brightest at times in his career, has already had one comeback player of the year season and trying to forge another one this year as the Mets get to meet some of their fans. This is great. I love this.
It really is great.
Oh, can you imagine how exciting that would be? That would be me right there in St. Candlestick Park. That would be Willie McCovey. But I would have had a cow.
But I love how the Mets players, all of them, are taking time out with the youngsters to talk with them and then show them where to go.
Oh, sweet.
Look at this.
Very sweet.
Ahmad is like, what kind of jersey you got on there? How come you have the DeGrom and not the Rosario jersey? Let's go.
You sound like your hoodie. Can I borrow it tonight?
So much genuine affection out there. It's
Yeah.
just so nice to watch.
Sure, certainly is.
Here's the lineup for the Brewers tonight. Lorenzo Cain and Domingo Santana collided in the outfield last night. Santana got the worst of it, but he's back in the lineup. So is Cain. Night off for Orlando Arcia, so Eric Sogard plays shortstop, and there is Mr. Harvey.
Well, the Land Rover numbers so far for Harv in the 2 starts, only a couple of punch-outs in Washington his last start. His career in April, and most of that done before his surgeries, he's 12-4.
Well, Lorenzo Cain will lead things off for Milwaukee. It seems to me the last time that Mr. Harvey faced Mr. Cain in this ballpark was on a November night in 2015 in the 9th inning when Harvey was working on a shutout.
Loudest this ballpark has ever been.
He walked Cain in that instance, and that 9th inning came crashing down on the Mets and wound up handing the Kansas City Royals a world championship that night. But for the first 8 innings, Matt was never better. Cain was on base 3 times last night. He takes the first pitch up and away for ball 1, and we're underway. And I always will go back to that decision that Terry Collins made, not to send Harvey out for the 9th inning, but to leave him in after the walk.
Yeah.
Up the middle, Rosario with a beautiful sit spin, and he throws him out. What a way to start the night. Ahmed Rosario with a beautiful play for the first out of the game.
They're going to check over in that Brewer dugout. Craig Counsell, the manager, wants to double check and see if Gonzalez stayed on the bag. My bet is he did.
Well, Cain ran off the field. He certainly didn't have any doubt that he was out.
Beautiful play right there by Rosario. The defense is so much better up the middle with that young man at shortstop. And let's see, the old pro. Oh, get him out of here.
Not even a question. Here's Eric Thames hitting second in the order, and he takes a strike. Thames came off the bench last night against Jerry's Familia and grounded out in the 9th inning. Sat it against the left-hander, but Thames has been hot. 5 home runs in his last 6 starts. 1 behind Bryce Harper for the National League home run lead. And Harvey bounces the slider, and it's 1-1.
You know, one thing has not changed since I've been around this game professionally. I enjoy defense more than any part of the game. Always have, always will.
Defense and triples.
Oh, the big shift.
Here Harvey dials it up to 95 and throws it by Thames. 1-2. Eric Thames, who burst back on the big league scene last year by hitting 11 home runs in the month of April, as Ryan Braun waits on deck after 3 years playing in Korea, where he hit 124 home runs in 3 seasons. 1-2 coming. And it just misses. 2-2. Thames tailed off after that startling April, but still had himself a spectacular return to the major leagues. Now 31 years old. Strike 3 call. Got him looking at the fastball, and Harvey has his first strikeout of the night.
Boy, I love the call from Lobatone. Called fastball in and went straight to the one away, and Matt paints. It doesn't get better than that.
I don't know what Thames thought he was arguing about.
No, he wasn't arguing. What happened is Larry Vanover has a very late call.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, you're calling that a strike. Okay.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Ryan Braun, who hit a 2-run homer last night against Steven Matz. He tries to hold the swing, but he went around on the slider, and it's 0-1.
Interesting that Matt in this first inning, Ronnie, is coming out throwing a lot of sliders.
Throwing a lot of sliders and throwing a little harder also.
His first 2 starts, his average fastball velocity was 92.3. He's already hit 95 a couple of times in the first inning tonight. And Braun fouls away another 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
And your Lexus Metzi defense, the same as last night. That is a nice little fivesome there. Lobatone, of course, behind the plate with the 2 injuries to the starting catchers of the Mets. The outfield there is, I'll take it.
Crowd is electric again tonight, isn't it? It was that way last night. Braun fouls it away.
Yeller freeze on your defense. That Cespedes 65 career assists. That's the most of anyone since he's come in the league.
don't challenge him.
No.
I loved Jesus Aguilar's reaction late in the game after Cespedes had thrown out Kane at third base. It went off the wall, went back to first, said, no, leave me alone. I'm not going to try. Here's the 0-2. And Braun hits one softly to second. Cabrera to his left. Side retire. Strong first inning from Matt Harvey. Throwing hard. He gets him out 1-2-3. Mets come to bat with no score. Chase Anderson. You see him scribbling initials there. He puts his dad and his two grandmothers' initials on the back of the mound before he pitches.
Wow, that's pretty cool. University of Oklahoma, 30 years old, has really come into his own. Started with the Arizona Diamondbacks, traded in the Gene Segura trade.
Michael Conforto leads off. Conforto 0 for 3 last night, but he's reached base in every game he's played this year.
25 starts last year for Anderson, 12-4.
Larry Vanover, the home plate umpire, also the crew chief under Wendelstedt, Chris Guccione, and David Rackley, who had the plate last night, round out the crew. Anderson behind 2-0 on Conforto with Cabrera and Cespedes to follow. And he misses with the sinker, and it's 3-0.
Not a pitcher's umpire, Larry Vanover. Very tight strike zone.
Full shift on against Conforto. And he takes the 3-0 fastball for a strike.
You know, there's the strict and loose interpretation of the Constitution. Well, you know, he's got the strict and loose interpretation of strike zone.
Does that make him a Federalist?
Oh, big cut.
Bordeaux fouls it back. Well, Chase Anderson was a middling pitcher until the middle of 2016. And his pitching coach, Derek Johnson, has done a great job with him. Got him to throw his curveball more, taught him a cutter, and he has blossomed over the last year and a half or so into one of the better starters in the game. And he strikes out Conforto with a changeup. And that's the first out. So he came back from 3-0 to get Mike.
And your Dodge Milwaukee Brewer starting infield. Shaw had a perfect year last year. This is not a great defensive ball club. We mentioned it last night. And in the outfield, uh-oh, we got Lorenzo Cain who can gallop and go get him, folks.
He gets on his horse.
Giddy up. Oh, I think it's April and the truck needs to take a rest.
What What are we using? Are these Monopoly characters?
Guys are getting so creative. Goes right off a chessboard. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, and he takes the curveball at his feet for ball one. Cabrera's hit in 11 straight games. He has been phenomenal in the early season. 5th in the National League with that .347 average.
Oh,
back to the curveball, 1-1.
nice little off-speed hook.
You know, I think what Derek Johnson did, what Gary was alluding to, is, you know, early in his career he wanted to be a strikeout pitcher, and he's turned him into a guy that you can never sit on just one pitch. Can throw 4 for strikes.
Gets it on the fist of Cabrera, who floats it to shallow left along the line. It's a foul ball. A little parachute by Cabrera that just went wide of the mark, and it's 1-2.
Chuck just said in my ear he threw 5 pitches last year, at least 12% of the time. So it lets you know that he mixes up his pitches as well as anyone in the game.
I think, you know, Ron, you mentioned that he was a strikeout pitcher, wanted to strike people out. I think pitchers are starting. I think the game's starting to come back a little bit now. I'm seeing more guys pitching to contact, getting to see more pitchers out there than just throwers. I hope it continues.
There's the breakdown, and he throws the 2 different fastballs, four-seamer, two-seamer, so that's what they're alluding to. Oh. And with a high fastball, he gets Cabrera, and back-to-back strikeouts for Anderson to start his night.
You know, I did a charity dinner in St. Louis with Willie McGee, Gary, and Whitey Herzog, and we were talking about the game, and Whitey said, he just said, get the radar gun that has the radar gun up on the board where the pitchers are looking, get rid of it so they'll pitch more instead of just throw.
Well, let me ask you this from a hitter's standpoint. Do you think as the velocity has increased in the game that hitters have adjusted to the velocity and that's caused pitchers to then go to the next level?
They also changed how they use the radar gun, Gary, and I think I can tell when someone's throwing. And Ronnie Camp in the center field camera is so exceptional. You can't tell me you can have a sinker ball pitcher throwing 97.
So you don't think that the average fastball velocity in the game is any different than it was when you played?
I think there's more hard throwers, but there's still guys that throw 91, and 91's plenty to get people out. Let me tell you, if you locate and pitch, you can get people out.
But I believe you're right, Gary, that it's relative. If everyone's throwing 95, 95 is that's what's relative now.
Hitters adjust.
Exactly.
I had a conversation, brief one, in spring training or last year with Jacob deGrom, and he told me he looks up there at that radar gun and he wants to dial it up. And, you know, conserve yourself.
Well, that's the other piece, is that they don't conserve themselves. They're asked to throw as hard as they can for as long as they can. 2-1 to Cespedes with 2 out.
Ooh.
A good changeup by Anderson, and it's 2-2. Seeing the arsenal here, he hasn't really thrown the cutter yet, but everything else.
He has, though. But let's watch that pitch later. Changeup down and in for a strike to Cespedes is only trouble. Got away with it there because it was really quality pitch.
And it wasn't a strike.
Cespedes down the right field line, overcomes Santana, a long run, sliding, can't get it, it's a foul ball. Good effort by Santana as he approached that low wall. He came a long, long way.
I mean, that ball off the bat just died in right field.
Just foul.
Well, the flags are blowing on top of the stadium in from right field.
Yeah, that's out of the east-northeast, 20 miles an hour.
Yep.
It's really gusting.
Yep. Usually they're blowing towards right field from the west.
2.5 club wind, Keith. You'd have to knock it down today if you were playing.
You have to get in front of, get the little bit in front of the ball so you can hit more line drives.
The temperature has dropped precipitously here. It's down about 20 degrees in the last 3 hours. In the low 50s now.
How about the weather in Chicago, Gary?
Wait till we see tomorrow here. Joe Madden said, and the Cubs came from 8 runs down to win today. Joe Madden said it was the worst weather conditions he's ever been involved with in the big league. Wow. Said we should have never played the game, and that's the winning manager who said that. They were down 10-2 in that game. They scored 9 runs in the 8th and beat the Braves 14-10. 3-2 to Cespedes with Bruce on deck. And Ioannis pops one foul that heads toward the seats. Thames tracking it, and it stays in play, and he makes the catch. So Cespedes retired on the foul pop-up. 1-2-3 inning for Anderson. No score after one. Second inning, Travis Shaw leads off against Matt Harvey. Shaw had his second home run of the year last night. It came in the 8th inning against Seth Lugo.
3-1 fastball down in the strike zone, pretty much out over the middle.
Shaw had 31 last year. He was the Brewers MVP in their 86 win season.
Well, when you fall behind the count, and it's a hitter's count, and you know what? A home run wasn't going to tie the game, and you don't want to give any free bases in the late part of the ball game.
And Harvey falls behind him 3-1. Domingo Santana on deck, then Eric Sogard.
Wind blowing in the way it is from right. You got to throw something down and away and challenge him. Make them hit it.
And Shaw cracks one deep down the right field line toward the stands, and it bounces up against the wall. Shaw heads for second. Bruce's throw coming in, not in time. And Travis Shaw has a leadoff double to start the second.
Home run on any other night, right?
I think he got in on his hand. This was a good pitch, Ron. I tell you what, you got to tip your hat here. This ball belt high in, and he just got he wanted it away. Maybe it had too much play, but he got in enough on him, because if he would have hit that ball in the screws, that would have been way out.
Already the 6th double of the year for Travis Shaw, so he's at second with nobody out. First base runner for either side. And here's Domingo Santana, who went 1 for 5 last night. And good for Santana that he's in the game today. He was limping around the clubhouse last night after having that semi-collision with Lorenzo Cain. And they were not sure at all whether he was going to be able to play today. This is a Milwaukee club that last year hit 224 home runs, matched the Mets for the most in the league, and Domingo Santana might have been the biggest surprise of all. He had 30 home runs last season. Brewers were one of the surprise teams in baseball last year. They did it with home runs. They did it with steals. They also did it with some really good pitching.
Yeah. And that bullpen, it ran out of gas in September, but boy, it was good most of the year.
Well, they found themselves an elite closer in Corey Knebel, and they're missing him right now. He's on the disabled list. Well, you can see the wind blowing the papers and the plastic all around the field now. It's only going to get worse as the night goes along.
Matt Harvey's uniform was flapping in the wind. And we said in spring training, Ron, about Matt, that for him to be successful, he's going to have to locate the fastball.
Two coming. He gets in on the fist of Santana. What's interesting to me about Harvey through his first 2 starts is there was so much talk in spring training about his changeup being an important pitch for him, and he's barely thrown it.
He's barely thrown it, and the second thing, from the first inning to this inning, he's already started to take that ball and pat the pocket again and take it out, something that he did last season.
Bad habit that it looked like he had solved. Just off the corner with a fastball, and it's 3-2 to Santana.
Why is that a bad habit, Ron?
It's a bad habit because you want to take the ball out fresh, Keith, so it ends up in the same place. If you pat it, you always come out of the glove in a different way. Sometimes you come out quicker. It doesn't always come out of the glove in the same rhythmic motion.
Shaw at second and nobody out, and Santana breaks his bat and flares one foul.
That had to hurt.
Well, it's kind of the same thing as what they tried to do with Wheeler to try and fix the way he drew his arm back, right? But it's just a different quirk.
I think, you know, we're talking about a guy who's had 2 major surgeries. So Matt, when he first came up, I was just amazed at the way he could reach back, almost like a javelin thrower, and get that arm all the way back. And now he's gotten shorter and shorter after, you know, those 2 major surgeries.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming to Santana. And it just missed, ball 4. And the Brewers have the first 2 men on.
Good at bat by the youngster Santana.
So now Eric Sogard, who came off the bench last night and got a base hit as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning against Jerry Blevins. He's getting the start at shortstop tonight.
Loves facing the Mets, right?
And a great series against the Mets in Milwaukee last year where the Brewers swept New York. He also hit a home run against Matt Harvey in his only career at bat against Matt. Now Frazier's in on the grass at third, thinking Sogard might be bunting.
I don't think so. A 6-hitter?
I don't think so either.
I would move him back on the, you know, on the other, just on the dirt, close to the cut of the grass, a little bit further.
Not much speed on the bases. Shaw at second, Santana at first. And Sogard takes it for a strike.
There's the changeup.
The one thing I would do defensively here, forget about Shaw. He can't run. Rosario's faking him back to second. Forget about Shaw. Yep. Move over 2 or 3 steps in that hole. Sogard's a guy that goes the other way.
Agreed.
Had his base hit to left center last night. And Harvey blows him away. Boy, an overmatch there, and Harvey has his second strikeout, 1 out in the inning.
Well, this would be a film right here for you to show your kids and say this is not how you swing the bat. That is, whoa, whoa, whoa. I mean, that's a nightmare right there.
So here's Jonathan Villar, the second baseman. Didn't start last night, appeared as a pinch hitter and grounded out. Villar trying to bounce back from a subpar 2017 after an outstanding 2016. And he's hitting over 300 to start the year. 2 years ago, Villar looked like a budding star. He had 285, 19 home runs, led the league with 62 stolen bases.
Looked like a 5-tool player, right?
And then he slumped badly last year. Hit 241, 11 home runs.
Everybody says someone's going to be this and that too quickly today. It's got to be put some years back to back before you're established.
Slash down the left field line, slicing toward the corner, and it's out of here. A 3-run homer for Jonathan Villar. That ball somehow stayed fair. His first home run of the season, a 3-run shot, and the Brewers have a 3-0 lead.
I did not think he hit the ball that good.
Well, if the wind's blowing in from right, it's blowing out to left, and those are the kind of home runs you usually see in spring training.
Well, that was a line drive. Not a bad pitch. Oh, he hit it pretty good, Ronnie.
Yeah.
But not a ball you expect to stay fair or leave the ballpark,
To go
and it
out,
did both.
and it went out over the Great Wall of Flushing.
I think Matt's a little stunned at that.
I'm stunned.
Jeff Bandy fouls one off the right side, and that'll go back in the seats.
What happens when the wind is blowing out that hard is that that ball never has a chance to peel. Like most balls hit like that will peel foul. It just stayed true long enough and got out quick enough to be a 3-run home run.
Well, we mentioned he hit 19 2 years ago. I'm not sure he hit many like that. Only the second home run Harvey's given up this season. And now Bandy swings at a high fastball, and it's 0-2. The Brewers are a home run hitting team. They scored all 5 of their runs on 3 home runs last night. And they scored their first 3 runs in this game on a long ball. 0-2 to Bandy. This is the first time Bandy has caught Chase Anderson this year. Manny Pena normally catches Anderson, but he still has a little bit of a calf problem, and while he is still active, does not appear to be available, and so Bandy's in there again tonight.
So they're almost playing with 24 players, right?
We saw that last night. They were shorthanded, and it really affected Craig Counsell's decision making down the stretch in the game. Wound up saving Eric Thames for the 9th inning because he felt he had to, whereas he could have used him in a bigger spot in the 8th. Bandy laces one in left center for a base hit. Cespedes gets over to cut it off. There's the 3rd hit of the inning against Matt Harvey. So after an outstanding first inning, things going very differently for Matt in the 2nd.
Well, this one's right down the middle and down.
You know, if you are of more confidence, you can correct this kind of by yourself, but this would not be a bad time for Dave Allen to come out and just say, hey, listen, it's a fluke home run. Shake it off. Just hold us there. You know how we're scoring right now. We'll come back, and we'll come back in this game.
Anderson showing bunt, takes a strike. You know, that thing at the bottom obviously goes back to last year when he was hurting. No more than 5 innings and 10 straight starts. No Met has had a streak like that since Wally Whitehurst.
Oh.
Nice bunt by Anderson. He really deadened it. And Gonzalez makes the play. 3-4 on the sacrifice, moving Bandy to 2nd. 2 out.
Wally was pitching out of the bullpen at the same time, though, so you know he was kind of restricted in how many pitches he threw.
So now 2 out. Bandy's at 2nd. Lorenzo Cain giving his pitcher time to get back to the dugout.
So, like the psychology at home, guys, of a starting pitcher after give up a 3-run home run in the 2nd. I mean, it takes the wind out of your sails a little bit, but you got to fight it and try to say to yourself, okay, let's just hold him there somehow, some way. But it does kind of knock the wind out of your sails.
Cain takes a first pitch slider for a strike. Bandy at 2nd and 2 out. Cain was robbed of a hit on a fine play by Rosario leading off the game. And that catches the corner. Barry Vanover giving a little extra edge, and it's 0-2. Eric Thames would be next. Harvey's already struck out 2 tonight. It's gotten him over 600 strikeouts for his career. The 15th Met ever to reach 600 strikeouts. 2012, you would have thought he'd be at 1,000 by now.
Easily.
But stuff happened. One-two coming.
Oh.
And I'm not sure where that missed. It's in the neighborhood of where the second strike was.
Catches plenty of plate.
Oh, it's right down Broadway.
Must have been low.
Jeez.
I mean, I'm not sure what Vanover said it was, but it sure looked like a strike.
What was it, the Platters that sang the On Broadway? Yeah.
That was the Drifters.
The Drifters, right. Thank you for the correction.
Benny King. Let's say the neon lights are bright.
Oh.
There's always magic in the air. 2-2 coming. And that's off the plate. Now it's 3-2. That's already walked one in the inning. He's throwing 29 pitches in this second inning. And Kane foul tips it for strike 3. Harvey has his third strikeout, but Villar's 3-run homer puts the Brewers in front. A fluky wind-blown 3-run homer for Jonathan Villar. And now the Mets will try and fight back. Jay Bruce at the plate against Chase Anderson to lead off. Well, it is the 28th inning that the Mets have given up at least a run. In 13 of the first 27 subsequent half innings, they've responded with at least a run. So we'll see.
Chip away. Although Bruce has not had a good time of it against Anderson in their short 14 at-bats.
1 for 14. The one was a home run. And the cutter just missed. 2-1.
That's a good call by Vanover. That ball's down.
Adrian Gonzalez on deck, then Todd Frazier for the Mets in the second, after Anderson cut the side down in order in the first with a couple of strikeouts. Chase Anderson, 30 years old, University of Oklahoma, 9th round pick by the Diamondbacks in '09. And Bruce gets under one to right. Santana waiting for it. 1 out. Adrian Gonzalez coming up. There's so much more information available for hitters now as they prepare for games. How does Adrian use it?
Well, I take advantage of it every day. You know, I do about 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes on the starter, and then, you know, about 10 minutes on every reliever at the start of a series. So that way, when they go into the at-bat, I already have a game plan set in my mind. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to guess. I don't have to. It's all preset in my mind. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm trying to do. I know if I'm going to be aggressive, if I'm going to see some pitches, if I'm going to look for a certain pitch in a certain situation. That's already, you know, all the homework's been done. So it's just about reacting and you know, making the plan go to work.
Is that something you've always done, or did you pick it up from somebody along the way?
Pretty much done it my whole career, ever since I was in San Diego. So, you know, it's something that I thrive on. I feel like I'm not an ability guy that just goes up there and swings as hard as he can and hits the ball hard somewhere. So I got to pick my spots. I got to figure out if there's a guy I want to get a single against, or if there's a guy I want to look for a pitch to drive. So, you know, you gotta have. For me, it's knowing who you're facing and what you're trying to do out there.
Well, going up against a pitcher he had hit very well in the past. He grounds out on the first pitch he sees.
And really nothing has really changed, Gary, as far as what I've heard there on his approach. It's just you have the players today have more information.
And guys, Pat Russler says that he utilizes that information better than anybody that he's coached. He puts in more work than anybody he's coached just behind the scenes like that. So much so that sometimes the coaching staff asks for his opinion on certain pitchers.
Well, as a veteran hitter, and a good one, he's been around.
It would make sense that you would use them because most of the people that are getting the analytics have never hit or don't know how to hit.
Well, I like the fact that he said in the end of that interview when he mentioned, am I up there where a base hit's needed, or do I need to hit a long ball, and therefore I'm looking for a pitch to drive. I thought that was, you know, the game hasn't changed.
Frazier pops one up into shallow left. Braun with a long one to come in and gets there to retire the side. So Chase Anderson, after getting the lead, throws up another 1-2-3 inning. 3-0 Brewers after 2. Last. To purchase tickets, visit Mets.com/strikeouts. Windy night at Citi Field. Matt Harvey with one good inning and one tough inning. They'll face 2, 3, and 4 in the Milwaukee order. Eric Thames leads off in the third. And swings at the first pitch changeup and pops it up right in the middle of the infield. Frazier grabs it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Harvey to start the third. Now Ryan Braun, who grounded out his first time up. With his 2-run homer last night, got himself within 3 RBIs of 1,000 for his career. Albert Pujols is approaching 2,000. How about the numbers Pujols splitting up?
Yeah, 617 home runs.
What, 14 hits shy of 3,000
That's
now?
right.
The 2,000 RBI plateau, that's rarefied air right there.
Think about the firepower on that team now. Grounded out to short. And Rosario's got it. And you've got the best player in the game in Mike Trout.
Yeah.
You've got the greatest star of the moment in Shohei Ohtani, and then you've got, I don't know, one of the best 10 players of the last 25 years in Albert Pujols.
And throwing Justin Upton out in left field.
So
Ohtani,
it's no wonder they're 12-3.
Simmons can play a little bit too now.
He's off to a great start.
Ohtani looks like the real deal, boy. He looks like a ball player. I like his swing.
Here's Travis Shaw, who doubled to the right field corner his first time. So do you think his offensive ability trumps his pitching ability?
I don't know.
I mean, his pitching has been phenomenal. The swings and misses on the splitter. That's lined into right field, a base hit for Shaw, and he's 2 for 2. Well, what a difference for Travis Shaw facing right-handed pitching.
You know, you've got the DH. You can DH him when after he comes off a start. Because I can't imagine him, having to make a throw after throwing a 5, 6, 7
They're not
innings.
using him in the outfield at all.
In a strange way, because they've had so many young pitchers who've gotten injuries. Him pitching once a week and lengthening their starters to pitching more than about once a week might help that team.
Might help all of them. Garrett Richards has had so many injuries.
Tyler Skaggs and others. Shoemaker.
Santana gets jammed and fouls it off. Domingo Santana walked and scored in the second inning. Well, the Angels have matched their best start ever. Last time they started 12-3 was 1979. Flicked into right field, a base hit for Santana. Shaw's going first to third. Santana will stop at first with a single. A couple of 2-out hits for the Brewers, and they have runners to the corners with 2 down.
Well, he goes with that slider right there.
When you see a young hitter like Santana able to deliver a hit like this, he shows great promise, doesn't it? Because he's got the power, but to be able to serve a ball to right like that shows he's got a lot of room to grow.
25 years old, came over from Houston for Carlos Gomez after the Mets didn't trade for Gomez at the deadline in 15. Here's Eric Sogard.
You know, I was saying before why it knocks the wind out of your sails if you're starting pitcher a 3-run home run early, because you know you have to be perfect for the rest of the time you're out there. So this is an out that certainly Matt has to get.
Well, he made Sogard look bad his first time up, struck him out with a fastball. Comes with the changeup and gets even 1-1. He's throwing a few more changeups tonight. Quickly got the first 2 outs in this inning before giving up the hits to Shaw and Santana. Santana no threat to run. Lobaton setting up inside, and the ball missed the inside edge, and it's 2-1. Well, Matt came out throwing 95 in the first inning. I've seen a lot of that since.
That's what I was saying in between innings to you guys. I said it's going to be interesting to see how he does in the second and in the third. Can he, Keith talked about carrying it through 3, 4, 5 years of success. Well, Matt right now is, can he carry it through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 innings of excellence?
Lobaton moves away. That hits the target, and Sogard fouls it off, and it's 2-2.
See if he goes back to the well. Struck him out in the first inning on that kind of half swing by Sogard on the fastball in.
Earlier that maybe the last inning Dave Island would have gone out for a mound visit. Mostly Lobaton would have been out 2 or 3 times already in this game had the new rules not been in effect.
That's right. But, you're on your own. Slider down and in. No, back door.
2-2. Domingo Santana runs, and it's pulled foul. That was interesting. Santana in motion on 2-2. Did he forget the count?
I think he might have forgot the count because he's looking into the bench. First baseman is talking to him now, and they're saying, "What are you doing, bro?"
It's Carlos Subero, the first base coach.
See, he's laughing, so
it's not funny.
It isn't funny.
Again, the 2-2. He's running again. The pitch is inside, ball 3, and now the throw back to first, and he gets back safely. Now, what was that all about? Were they trying to run a delayed double steal and steal a run that way?
Pulling that out of the Notre Dame playbook is Craig Counsell.
He's lucky that that was his intention. Yes, it looks like, and then he goes back. I mean, if you're going to go out,
going to challenge the call.
If you're going to go out and create that and try to steal a run there, getting a run down, then why would he go back here? I mean, he's out there. Okay, here I am. Come get me. We're going to try to steal a run.
I mean, the whole thing from running the previous pitch to trying to get back. Let's see if he got him.
Yes, he did. He did get him.
The Mets are challenging it based on the replay that you just saw.
His foot bounces right up in the air as he gets his foot in.
There.
Watch the other look. You'll see his lead right foot. Before it gets to the bag, it's in the air. He's got the glove on his calf.
It's another close one.
Yeah, it's close.
That would be a huge call for the Mets to get overturned with the way things are going right now for Harvey.
And it would be yet another poor baseball mistake by the Brewers. They did not play a good game last night. Made multiple errors, mental errors.
I mean, Counsell, if you watched his body language in the dugout, was disgusted by the whole play. So it's hard for me to believe that he put on the play.
This is a hard one right here. If it's got to be conclusive.
2 crews in the replay center in Chelsea. Ted Barrett's crew and Joe West's crew try to parse this one and make the call.
It's a tough one. To me, if it's a tough one, you can't overrule it, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have conclusive evidence to overturn the call on the field, which was safe.
What's the clock here? Where's
tough part about a night tonight is everyone is standing around on the field,
including Matt Harvey, who might have to throw a very crucial pitch if this call is not overturned. Well, Well, there's the definitive look.
I think he's on the foot, Keith, and his right foot's not there yet, to me.
We'll see. Where is the clock here, Gare? I forget.
Well, the clock is not running publicly.
Is this only the second or third challenge by Callaway this year by Mickey? I don't know if I'm correct. He hasn't done it a lot.
We haven't seen many challenges for or against.
And it's good that Matt Harvey's taking some warm-up tosses. Okay.
And they do not overrule it.
I'd have to agree.
Santana, the happiest person in the building.
Catch a break.
Now he can run, Gary. It's 3 and 2.
Now he's got to run.
And don't stop.
Flip a coin.
So Matt tried to throw a few warm-up pitches on this windy night. Now he's got to throw a 3-2 pitch with the runner going, with first and third and 2 out. So Tana gets set to take off. And Sogard lifts one to right field. And will hit. Back goes Bruce. He'll get there in front of the warning track to make the catch. Wouldn't might have knocked that ball down a little bit for Matt Harvey as he dodges a bullet in the third. Still 3-0 Brewers. Horizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Chase Anderson has retired the first 6 to face him. Just spent a long time in the dugout with the review and all. He'll face the lower third of the Mets order in the third. Ahmed Rosario grounds the first pitch down to Travis Shaw. 1 pitch and 1 out for Anderson in the third. Rosario now hitless in his last 10 at bats.
Interesting, batting 7th in this lineup. We've seen him 9th, but they are keeping him out of the hole where he hits in front of the pitcher. You know,
well, you're not going to hit Lobaton in front of him.
But he's still hitting in front of, you know, a light hitter in Lobaton and the pitcher.
Yeah, but when he's 9th, that 9th is the best spot for him.
Yeah. What I'm saying is 7th any different from 8th in the regard of what he's going to get to hit?
Well, yes. Oh, 8th.
Well, I'm saying hitting in front of Lobaton and the pitcher, is that much different from hitting 8th in front of
leading
the
off an inning? It would be. Yeah, I think you're going to get a pitch to hit, but you know he's very aggressive. So 1 pitch, 1 out.
I mean, he's 0 for his last 10, Gary, but I think he's swinging the bat pretty good. He hit a couple. He's hit some balls hard, some tough luck. He's got a chance. He swings the bat, and I like his aggressiveness.
Lobaton tripled in his first at bat as a Met last night. And he takes a changeup for a strike from Anderson, 1-2. Lobaton has spent the last 4 years with the Washington Nationals, 33 years old. And there's been a lot of speculation in the last 24 hours or so about whether the Mets are going to go outside the organization, look for catching. If they do they go front line for a guy like JT Realmuto, or more marginal for a guy like Miguel Montero? Full count to Lobaton.
Montero, I mean, he had issues with the Chicago Cubs pitchers on guys stealing. Can you imagine over here? He'd have a meltdown.
But I mean, there are other options too. I mean, Wilson Ramos carrying a big salary for a Tampa Bay team that's going nowhere.
I like him a lot.
Mets have certainly seen plenty of him when he was a National, and he used to tear the Mets up.
Injuries are a factor, of course, with Wilson's game.
I mean, clearly of the bunch, the most attractive commodity is Realmuto, but he also would be the priciest, you would imagine. 3-2 to Lobaton with Harvey on deck, and time asked for.
You could maybe throw a couple bones Oakland's way, and you got a veteran like Lucroy.
I guess the question is, as Lobaton draws a walk and the Mets have their first base runner of the night, I guess the question is, if you're the Mets, how large do you perceive the need to be right now? If Plawecki is really going to be out less than a month, and this team is doing as well in so many other areas, can you afford to just go with the more defensive-minded Lobaton and Nido and not worry about it?
In my opinion, you let it play out.
I agree.
And you see how it goes, and if the team continues to play, well, then you don't have to do anything. If you don't get a lot of production from Rosario and Lobaton, and now you have, you know, the pitcher, that's kind of 3 outs in your lineup every night, then you might have to take a look at it. But that's not now, in my opinion.
You can see Shaw at third base playing tight in there, expecting the bunt. Harvey swinging on that first strike. I agree with everything Sandy Alderson said the other day in the press conference, Gary.
Grounded down to Shaw, a chance for 2. VR reaches for the throw, has to double clutch and still turns the double play. 5-4-3 double play, and that ends the inning. So Anderson has faced the minimum through the first 3. No bunt from Harvey, and the Brewers able to turn 2. After 3-0 Brewers. We go to the Jets. SNY's NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano breaks down the possibilities on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports.
Tonight's Verizon trivia question: which pitcher has the most career wins in Brewers franchise history?
Wow. I know the decade. I'm trying to think back. Only because I was told by Eddie in the truck the decade only. And I still can't remember.
They're telling you the answers before we get the trivia
no,
now?
I'm not. Hey.
Well, he's getting hints, not strictly the answer.
It's up to the fans. This is not for me.
Jonathan VR leads off in the 4th inning. This time he drags a bunt. Harvey's right on it. And VR, who hit a 3-run opposite field home run, tries to bunt his way on and is thrown out easily. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jet Bandy, who had a base hit his first time up.
It's 2 innings in a row for Harvey. 1 pitch, 1 out to start the inning.
Well, he got the first 2 men out in the 3rd before trouble loomed. He was able to escape damage. Facing the lower 3rd of the order here in the 4th. And Bandy takes a slider out of the strike zone for ball 1.
It's a little different in the National League, of course, than the American League with the DH, but this is the part of the order that you have to just ram through every night.
Chase Anderson, the pitcher, on deck. And Bandy unloads to deep left field. Forget that. That is way out of here. Jet Bandy with his first home run of the year. And it's 4-0 Milwaukee. So a 2-0 fastball at just 91 miles an hour from Harvey, and Bandy unloads.
Well, you can see Bandy is a one-zone hitter. And if you watched last night, Gazelman ate him up with hard sinkers in. This is right down the pipe and down, and it's also a 2-0 count.
So the Brewers have now hit 5 home runs in the last 2 nights, accounting for all 9 of their runs in this series. Bandy, who hit 6 last year, including 1 against the Mets, has his first of this season. Anderson sacrificed his first time.
Full extension means the ball is over the middle of the plate.
Remember, in the 8th inning, Jet Bandy hit with a 2-0 count against Robert Gazelman. And Gazelman retired him on a 2-1 count.
Got jammed twice in a row, but different location.
Yeah.
Second straight start that Matt's given up 4 runs. Gave up 4 runs in 5 innings against the Nats on Sunday night. After a first start against the Phillies in which he held them scoreless for 5 innings.
Boy, oh boy, it's chilly up here. Gusty wind.
Wait till tomorrow, my friend.
I will be watching.
Oh, you're not here tomorrow.
Fireplace. I've already got the logs in place.
Strike 3 called. Strikeout number 4 for Harvey. How did you? How did you know in advance that tomorrow was going to be such a difficult weather day?
I had no idea, and it's all Kurt Gowdy who does all this, not me. How often do or Ronnie get a game off in a series? Usually we have the entire series.
I don't think Kurt has anything to do with the schedule. I think he sends the schedule to you. You make it out, and he okays it, just like expenses.
You think Kurt's awake right now? I bet you he's not.
By the way, happy birthday, Kurt.
That's right, Kurt. Happy birthday.
Our executive producer, Kurt Gowdy, celebrating a birthday today. Anybody know how many? I have no idea.
I hope Kurt filed for Medicare 3 months ago. Kurt, I got to do it in July.
Well, I guess you know. And now everybody else does too.
Kurt and I are the same age. We're 65. I will be in October.
Is anything sacred up here?
No, apparently not.
I mean, come on.
Hey, I'm 64 and proud of it.
Outing the boss on his age. Wow.
You must have a multi-year contract working right now.
Yes, that's right. I got another year. It'll be forgotten.
Maybe.
There's tape, you know, of every game.
Here's the 0-2 to Kane, and he fouls back another fastball. Eric Thames would be next. Kane wastes away the slider.
You know, we just were in Miami. We saw Lewis Brinson, who's trying to, make his mark as a player. Lorenzo Cain had that reputation when he came up. A great athlete. Could he hit enough someday? Well, he certainly has answered that.
It's sharply and off the glove of Cabrera, and Cain is aboard. A bullet. Cabrera gave it a shot, but just barely got leather on it. It's a base hit for Cain to prolong the inning.
Matt just stayed away from Kane, and Kane just rips that little cutter. Ate up Cabrera there. Bullet.
That was a great shot of how it comes off the bat and how little time you have to react.
So that gives Thames a chance with a runner aboard and 2 out. Harvey's handled him so far. Struck him out in the first. Got him to pop up a changeup in the third.
The Thames story is such a great story, though, right? A guy who was with Toronto early in his career, never could quite make it work, goes to kind of a league where they throw a lot of breaking balls in Korea, KBO, and he figures out how to hit the breaking ball, and Milwaukee took a chance and signed him.
You can learn a lot of things playing baseball in Korea. You can learn how to hit the breaking ball. You can hit a lot of home runs. You can work on your bat flip. They're big on the bat flips in the KBO.
Bat flips.
Yeah.
Learn how to appreciate kimchi. It's very important there.
Very healthy too.
Yes.
Fermented, you know.
No. When I was a kid, we used to have kimchi all the time in my refrigerator, and my friends would come over and just try to get me to open it up so they could smell it. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to know if you smell.
It's
kimchi.
pungent.
Yes.
Clear your sinuses. Thames takes a big rip at a high fastball, and it's 1-1.
You could just stay upstairs on Thames. He likes that ball down. Got that elevation swing. I will not say loft angle again this year. I'll say elevation swing.
Launch. You actually didn't say launch angle. You said loft angle.
It's a Freudian slip.
So you actually stayed true to what you just said.
Yes.
I'm not saying it. On the inside corner, and Harvey gets him looking to end the inning. Second time Thames has been caught looking tonight. 5 strikeouts for Matt. 4-0 Milwaukee. cards you really, really want by enrolling in Verizon Up. It's easy to earn, free to join, and it's all on the My Verizon app. Michael Conforto pops one straight up. Jet Bandy almost tripped over his mask, but makes the catch. One pitch and one out for Chase Anderson in the fourth.
Catching 101, right? You're trying to throw that mask so far away that you don't have that issue, but Bandy did. But literally on a night like tonight, I think any catcher, infielder, whoever is scared to death with the ball the way it's traveling in the air.
Dropped that thing right at his feet.
He dropped it in front of him. You throw it to the side.
He caught it.
It's like a frisbee.
Give him a break.
I've not seen that.
You got to make it fly, Jet. There's Dribble Cabrera, who struck out. He was fortunate. He could have easily fallen on his face. That would have been a hot low light he would have watched forever.
That's right.
It would have been a who was the pitcher for the Marlins? Oh, now I'm blanking. Came off the mound celebrating and he tripped and fell on his face.
Yes. Chad, relief pitcher.
Chad Qualls.
Chad Qualls.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we played that one how many times?
Oh boy, couldn't get enough of it. Poor Chad.
He had a nice career.
Yeah.
Well,
Cabrera fouls one by.
We got a clip I'll probably show you on the third at bat of the starting pitcher tonight. It's similar to
from opening day.
Opening day.
That's a good one too.
Next at bat, we'll give you a shot at it, folks. We will ask your opinion.
You know, Anderson has a very good curveball. I always felt when the wind's blowing out or blowing out a certain way into your face, it makes your curveball better. There's a time to break.
Cabrera gets a fastball and flies it out to center. Kane is right there. And Anderson keeps rolling along. He's faced the minimum so far. And he's got himself a 4-0 lead.
Anything in the air to right field and into center is not going to go anywhere with that wind blowing.
Kane only needed a Shetland for that one. That catch.
If you hit one out today to right field, it's going to have to be a line drive.
Well, the Brewers have hit a couple of home runs. They've both gone to left field. And the wind does appear to be gusting out in that direction. See if Cespedes can take advantage. Yoenis has fouled out to first base his first time up. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Cespedes hovering right around 200. 22 strikeouts already. But a lot of big hits early in the season. And that one found the corner, and it's 0-2.
You know, I was asking the guys in the truck last night. They didn't have the answer. I don't remember him with the shield across his face, Cespedes.
A lot of guys have adopted that now, what they call the C-flap.
Yep.
Used to be guys only started using it after they got hit in the face.
Right.
Now guys are doing it proactively. And a half swing, he did not go around 1 and 2.
It's almost like an extension of the body armor.
Yeah, Harper is doing it in Washington.
I never liked the flap because I could see out of the corner of my eye, and I just didn't like it. And it was probably just me and obsessing over it. But that's why I never wore the flap.
1-2 coming, and he fouls it away. I mean, you know, Giancarlo Stanton started wearing it after he got hit. Wilmer Flores this year started wearing it after he got hit in the nose last year to end his season. But I would say the use of that C-flap has gone up quite a bit this year for guys who have never been hit.
Interesting in a game today where they don't throw at you anymore like they would. You think in the 60s it would have been more practical.
I want to know now if they have a C-flap for pitchers after watching Jordan Zimmerman get hit the other night. Oh, he could have used it. Anderson strikes out Cespedes, third strikeout of the night, and the Mets are without a hit through the first 4 innings. 4-0 Brewers going to the 5th. breaks down the latest Mets and Yankees news on Baseball Net in New York, presented by Tri-State Cadillac Dealers, weeknights at 6, only on SNY.
Why don't you just become a copy editor for the New Yorker, Russ Relkin? I mean, you're outstanding.
See, insiders would break down the latest news, but a panel breaks down.
Because it's plural. Panel.
Oh, the panel is singular.
No,
the insiders are plural.
Insiders, sorry.
But it's the panel that's breaking down the news. Thank goodness we have Russ.
Oh, he's the best.
It's like a third-grade grammar teacher.
Well, we're all third graders in here.
Yes, we are. Sometimes that's a compliment. An upgrade.
Overestimation.
Yeah. Ryan Braun's been up twice, grounded out both times. And Harvey throws the changeup low, and it's 2-1. Braun, Shaw, and Santana 3, 4, and 5 in the order for Milwaukee against Harvey, who had a good first inning but has been struggling since. Poked the other way by Braun, and he's got himself a base hit. So a leadoff base runner for the Brewers. They have their 8th hit against Harvey. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question: which pitcher has the most wins in Brewers history? I was going to say Teddy Higuera. No.
Oh, of course. Jim Slayton.
That's a good one.
That was in the 70s.
Yep.
I got to think. I think he was in the bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers in '82.
Might have been.
Against us.
After they got Sutton to fill out the rotation. Here's Travis Shaw, who's 2 for 2. And the curveball popped up in foul ground. Does Frazier have a chance for it? No. It's on the dugout roof.
Nice catch. Nice play. Waffled the guy next to him, but that's how it goes.
Got to be ready to play those caroms. The hoodie, a very important item tonight.
That's right.
Especially the hoodie over the ski cap. There's the good changeup by Harvey, and he gets ahead on Shaw 0-2.
That's in case the one prior was in case one of the cone heads from Saturday Night Live was here. That would cover it.
Shaw doubled down the right field line in the second and singled to right in the third.
It's amazing, isn't it? Went through 15 or so years hardly ever being cold, and now I'm cold almost every day. It's funny how that changes.
It's age, my friend.
Yeah, it is. OLD.
Domingo Santana waiting on deck. Harvey about to throw his 85th pitch of the night. Lobaton sets up outside. And Shaw fouls away the slider. Mets came into the night with the best ERA in the National League at 2.59. Fewest hits allowed, second fewest walks allowed. Their bullpen has been even better than the starters.
We were down the other day. What were they? 5.10 last year or something like that.
Over 5. Good at bat for Shaw. He's worked his way back from 2 strikes to 3-2.
Will they let Braun loose here?
Nobody out. He's running, and Shaw takes strike 3. The throw by Lobaton on a hop is not in time, And Braun steals the base. Shaw is called out for the first out. Braun has his second stolen base of the season.
Well, Shaw must have been looking for something. This is a fastball. Right down the middle. He had to be looking for a changeup or something.
So one out. Braun now at second with the stolen base.
You really don't like guys stealing bases on you when it's a full count, because the runner taking the lead, you're taking a safety lead. You know, you're not going to get picked off. You think you're going to get protected by the hitter. So that's not a good sign right there. The Mets have had their issues holding runners on.
With the second stolen base against Harvey this season, but as a group, the Mets have been very vulnerable. Here's Santana, who's been on base twice, and he takes a strike. Santana's walked, singled, he scored a run. Paul Sewald, first man up in the Mets bullpen, as Harvey pushes toward 90 pitches. Eric Sogard next. One coming. Grounded slowly. Rosario in to get it. And throws out Santana as Braun goes to third, 2 out.
A little slip by Santana coming out of the box, or it might have been a closer play.
So 2 away now. Sogard, who has struck out and flied out 0 for 2. Mickey Callaway, 12 games into his managerial career, has a 9-game winning streak. Consider the fact that Gene Mauch managed over 4,000 games in the major leagues over 26 seasons and never had a 9-game winning streak.
Not once?
Never.
Really?
That's crazy. Wow.
In fact, there have been 10 managers who have managed at least 1,000 games in the major leagues who never had a 9-game winning streak. And Mickey Callaway's done it in his first 12 games. Magic. To Sogard.
I mean, it's an anomaly. It's just in a game that you play every day, that is really guided by your starting pitcher in many ways. It's just amazing that you would not have one guy just fall flat on his face and have, one of those games you have no chance in. But this is nothing for Mickey.
That's right. Last year he witnessed his team win 22 in a row. 22.
I don't get that one. I don't think that happened. Something that's.
Mickey wasn't the only one who was there. Jay Bruce was there too.
Jay had the big hit in game number 22.
2-2 to Sogard.
I remember when the A's won 20, I said, boy, that'll never be beaten, and it was. But they also gave up 37 runs in that 22-game win streak.
No. Any winning streak, even if you win in different fashions, has to feature great pitching. You can't bludgeon people every day. Skimmed to short, charging Rosario. Grabs the spinner, throws out Sogard. Nicely done. Side retired. Harvey negotiates the top of the 5th. We're halfway through. 4-0 Milwaukee. Afternoon as the Cubs came from 8 runs down to beat the Braves 14-10. 9 runs in the 8th inning. Javi Baez, the big hit, a 3-run double. A complete meltdown by the Atlanta bullpen on a day when it would be hard to melt anything.
10-2, 12 unanswered by the Cubbies.
Jay Bruce leading off in the home 5th. And he grounds one down to first. Thames gobbles it up and makes the play. Brian Braun has come out of this game for Milwaukee. Hernan Perez has taken over in left field. Braun ran the bases in the last inning, stole a base, went to third on a ground out, and now comes out. Brewers are still waiting for Christian Yelich to come back from the disabled list. There had been some hope that he'd be activated tomorrow when he's eligible, but the Brewers said before the game today that will not happen, so we will not see Yelich in this series. He's had an oblique injury.
Why would you activate anyone tomorrow with any kind of injury?
It's going to be interesting to see how they handle tomorrow. I mean, it's supposed to rain, but it's not supposed to rain a lot.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be very windy and very cold. And remember, the Brewers don't come back here, so if they were to have to postpone tomorrow's game, they'd have to find a mutual off day.
Makes you feel like they're going to play it. There's Yelich on the bench.
It looks cold. Looks like Pete Davidson in a hoodie. 1-2 to Gonzalez.
Boy, Anderson is just really outstanding. What are you painting the corners?
Gonzalez hits one past the mound. Sogard over to get it. And there are 2 out. Mets have had just 1 base runner, a 1-out walk to Jose Lobaton in the 3rd, and he was erased on a double play. So Anderson has faced the minimum, and look at his pitch count: 53 pitches through 4 2/3. Frazier flied to left his first time up.
Well, Chase Anderson can do it. He had this kind of game at the end of May last year against his old teammates, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Took a no-no into the 8th.
He made just 25 starts last year because he spent 7 weeks on the disabled list with an oblique injury. But in just 25 starts, 12 wins. 12-4, 2.74. In fact, you go back his last 40 starts. There's his career numbers. But going back to July of 2016, when he seemed to get everything turned around, 17-6, 2.74. So he has turned himself into an ace. Made his first opening day start this year for Milwaukee. It all went well except for, well, Keith teased it before. We'll have to show it eventually. 1-2 coming, and curveball in the dirt to Frazier. 2-2.
So here's a case of a guy that's not throwing through a brick wall. Gary Ron, and just pitching, mixing his pitches up, in and out, up in the strike zone, down. I admire that. That's an art.
He's calling his own game too. 3 shakes there. It's usually the fastball in. Let's see. Nope.
And Frazier lays off the curveball. 3-2. Frazier's never had a hit against Anderson. 0 for 10 against him. And trying to get the Mets' first hit of the night. Mets were no hit for 6 innings just a couple of games ago by Jarlin Garcia of the Marlins. They took him out. Mets rallied and won the game. I don't think Anderson's coming out. And the 3-2 changeup misses low, and the Mets have a 2-out base runner. Second walk given up by Anderson.
Another really good at bat there by Frazier behind the count, and Anderson pitched him very coyly.
Tomorrow's starters brought to you by Citi. Noah Syndergaard gets the ball for the Mets tomorrow night. Jhoulys Chacin, who has struggled through his first couple of starts for Milwaukee.
He had that crazy year with San Diego last year where he pitched great at home, couldn't get an out on the road.
There's Rosario. By the way, speaking of San Diego, you see who pitched a gem for them last night? Tyson Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to San Diego after all the arm problems he's had. Came to them as a minor league free agent, and he pitched a great game last night, even drove in a run as he beat the Giants. Remember how good he was a few years ago?
That's right. Great slider. When you're pitching at your best, if you're a guy like Anderson, who's not a 95+ guy, each pitch is connected, right? So, you know, fastball away sets up something inside. If he swings at it inside and is quick, then he can throw something soft. Every pitch is connected.
Rosario lines one toward the middle. Sogard smothers it but has no play, and the Mets have their first hit of the night.
And this crowd finally gets something to cheer about.
They sure did. There has been a lot of excitement and energy at this ballpark, and Ronnie and I can tell you about it in our days playing here. Nothing like a New York fans, Met fans, getting behind a team.
Nice play by Sogard. That might have been a first and third kind of situation.
So an infield hit for Rosario is the Mets' first hit of the night against Chase Anderson. We'll see whether Lobaton can make something of it. Frazier, the first Met runner to get as far as second base. Lobaton walked his first time up. And the changeup at the feet of Lobaton for ball one. Brandon Nimmo was out on deck to bat for Matt Harvey. If Lobaton can keep the inning going. First stumbling block of the night for Chase Anderson. 1-1 to Lobaton. For his first 3 starts this year, lefties didn't have much of a chance against Anderson. They were hitting 154 against him. The righties 281. Hit for a Met tonight from the right-hand hitter Rosario. And a check swing foul. And now he's ahead on Lobaton 1-2.
Anderson is not afraid to throw his fastball.
Yeah.
Frazier at second, Rosario at first with 2 out. And Lobaton goes down swinging to end the inning. So Anderson survives his first difficult inning, his 4th strikeout of the night. Mets get their first hit, but they've been blanked for 5. 4-0 Brewers. Paul Sewald in to pitch the 6th inning for New York.
Well, Sewald hasn't appeared in a lot of games. He's been the one guy that's been kind of the man on an island out there in that bullpen, but asked to get a few outs today.
So Matt Harvey goes 5 innings again, allows 4 runs and 8 hits, a walk, 6 strikeouts, 2 home runs, 95 pitches. Jonathan Villar victimized him for an opposite field 3-run homer in the 2nd, and Villar leads off in the 6th. So Harvey has now set a club record, 11 straight starts of 5 innings or less. No Met had ever done that as a starting pitcher before. What do you make of Harvey right now, 3 starts into the season?
Well, you know, I've said it. I think that he has, if you take the individual pitches, he has enough to get hitters out and to have really good games. The issue is that as you make the transformation from who he was to who he is, he should be pitching much more like Chase Anderson than what he featured tonight. And that is, you know, hard fastball, hard slider. You know, of course, it's short from where it was years ago, but you don't see enough of. I thought the changeup was going to be more important coming out of the season, coming into this season, and it hasn't played a prominent role yet.
Do you feel the cold weather might have something to do with it? That's a field pitch?
I totally think it's difficult to pitch in these conditions, but I will say it's more difficult on the hitters. And I would also, you know, the curveball, that was a big part of him getting ahead in counts, him getting back in counts. I think the ability to maybe become a 4-pitch pitcher right now is going to be his saving grace.
Well, he's abandoned the curveball completely.
Well, I've said that, you know, he's a pitcher in transition. I mean, Matt came up with just lights out stuff, and I think now with the series of injuries that he's had, the surgery, that he has to transition and be a pitcher and command his fastball, move it in and out, like Ronnie said. What we're seeing from the Brewer pitcher tonight, Chase Anderson.
Let me ask you this, because going back to the 1st inning tonight, we saw him throwing 95.
Yeah. And what did I say? I'd be interesting to see if he can throw it in the 2nd inning.
But for Matt, he also sees that he's throwing 95. And does that discourage him from making the adjustments that you're talking about?
I honestly cannot answer that question because I never ever cared what I threw and never saw it on the board. So I don't know that. I would hope that would not be the case. I know in my day you'd come in a game and you felt like you had a good fastball, but sometimes it wasn't true. Sometimes how you felt, the hitters would let you know if you had a good fastball.
So how do you explain for a fan who's watching and saw Harvey throwing 95 in the 1st inning as VR fouls off another one, and then saw him throwing 91 and 92 later in the game? How do you explain why that happened?
Well, my explanation within the game we were talking about, he went back to a little habit that he had last year of tapping the glove, and I think, you know, when I see him from the javelin effect he had early in his career to tapping the glove and becoming almost like a catcher, real short with his arm. When you get that short, Sewald strikes out VR. When you get that short with your arm, so he went from a place where he would literally have his hand here at 2nd base and go, and now it's tap and here, right here. It's impossible to make up that to here to go from 95 or more.
So do you think that if he's able to get back to solving that, which it appeared that he had, that then reintroduces some velocity? Does that change the equation?
I think that it could introduce some velocity, but he might not be able to get back there anymore, Gary. You know what I mean? Like physically, he might not be able to get back there as much as he was before. The slider he had in 2013, that pitch might be gone. You know, I remember, and I'm only saying this from experience, and that's because I don't know about Matt. When I broke my thumb in '87, I always had a great curveball. From '87 on, '88 on, I never had that curveball ever the rest of my career, and that was one of the best pitches I had. It became a junk pitch that I would throw to get in a count, behind the count 2-1. I just flip it in there. I mean, it was almost embarrassing because it was one of the strengths that I had as a young kid. I had a better breaking ball when I was 19 years old in college than I did when I was winning all the games for the Mets. But that's, you develop another pitch, and I developed a split finger.
It's all about the adjustment.
Yeah.
Bandy pops one up. Lobaton back. Watches it sail out of play.
So I saw so many pitchers. Kerry Wood comes to mind when he came up, throwing that hard, I mean, breaking ball. And I remembered watching on TV, and I'd seeing Matt when Matt came up. That first start he had was Arizona.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there going, you cannot throw a slider that hard with that kind of velocity and not break down sooner or later.
And yet, they'll tell you that it's not the breaking ball.
It's fastball.
It's the fastball that causes the pitchers to break.
Well, you're pushing the limits.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, you know, you can bench press 285 and you're trying to do 320. At some point, you're going to tear a tricep or a bicep or whatever happens.
Jet Bandy's already had a good night. Single and a home run. Sewald's 1-2. And the slider off the plate, 2-2. Pitcher Chase Anderson on deck. Sewald last pitch Tuesday night in Miami. Faced one batter, got an out. And the slider struck him out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Sewald. Well, we've been teasing this for innings. So let's watch Chase Anderson running the bases on opening day. It's Fundies with Keith.
Oh, boy. Oh!
Right off his nose.
A cocoa butt. God. I mean, George Kissel would have had Mr. Anderson in the sliding pants out in the outfield practicing his slides. But he's a pitcher.
I mean, I've seen a lot of bad slides. I've never seen a guy slide and hit his nose before.
Look at that. Look at the Fundies. Look at that. The ball right in the glove.
It's a big head you got, Keith.
Exactly.
Well.
It looked like to me that he wasn't going to slide, and at the last minute figured he had to slide, because that's the slide really that you go into on the slip and slide when you're a kid, isn't it? You go in there kind of sideways.
Tentative. Well, he's a lifetime 098 hitter, so he hasn't had a lot of chance to run the bases like that. He did score, though. The run counted. And Sewald just misses high, 2-2. And tonight he's pitching phenomenally well. One hit through 5 innings, and he's got a 4-0 lead. Make his nose feel a lot better. And Sewald gets him looking, and Paul Sewald has struck out the side in the top of the 6th. Mets will try and get something going against Anderson, down 4-0.
manner, and the years to come should bring even more thrills. The new field manager in the person of hard-nosed Dave Bristol were the first developments as the Pilots headed into the 70s. Whatever the future holds, divisional championships, World Series, All-Star games, even these would be hard put to match the year that was, the year that Major League Baseball came to the Pacific Northwest, the first voyage.
Yeah, it came and it went. There was no second season for the Seattle Pilots. 1970, days before the season began, they moved to Milwaukee and became the Brewers.
And notice the logo, folks. I didn't know for years it's MB on that hat. And with the ball in the pocket, I did not know that for ages.
You just thought it was a glove and a ball.
Yes. That's
So
a very
did we all.
A very clever logo.
Well, Sewald will get the turn at bat after striking out the side in his first inning of work, and with third baseman Shaw playing back, thought about trying to bunt for a hit. Looking for his first big league hit, 0 for 2. Well, I will say this. The ratio of length of time that a franchise existed in a certain city as against the quality of book written about that franchise, never been higher than for the Seattle Pilots. 1 year, one incredible, seminal baseball book. Ball 4, of course, by Jim Bowden.
It was groundbreaking. There you go. There are the hats. And if you look for it, it's obvious.
Yeah, well.
You know, I've always I've read Ball 4 twice, but I've told myself a couple times the last 5 years or so I need to reread it again because it's just.
Yeah, I've read through it a few times.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's nothing like it.
Ryan Braun left the game with back tightness, we are told.
Describes what baseball was in those days.
Sewald lifts one out to center field. Kane tracking through the wind, and that's the first out.
This crowd is ready to explode because they're exploding on a can of corn.
Well, what they're expecting is that this team, which finds a way to win every day, will find a way. And, you know, it doesn't happen every day, but the expectation right now is that this team is going to win every game.
That's right.
What was the sign we saw in Miami? 161-1.
That's right.
It's still out there. There's Conforto, who's 0 for 2, struck out and fouled out. Well, Chase Anderson has been the difference maker tonight. He's held the Mets to an infield hit over 5 1/3. Meanwhile, remember the Phillies? The team that looked so terrible against the Mets. They just won their 5th in a row tonight. Jake Arrieta got his first win for the Phils. They beat up on Tampa Bay. Phillies are 8-5.
Arrieta throw a jam or just a win?
He's going up 6 2/3, 7 hits.
6 2/3 is pretty
2
good
earned
since
runs.
he didn't go to spring training until almost April.
Certainly makes them a very interesting team every 5 days. And Conforto is hit by the pitch.
I thought it caught him in the forearm, but who knows?
No movement from the trainer or the manager.
Left forearm?
Yep.
Yeah, right on the
ulna,
but not wrist.
Right on the sweat guard there.
It hurts.
So the Mets have a 1-out base runner. Third batter Anderson has hit this year. And now Cabrera steps in. As Dribble has struck out and flied out tonight, 0 for 2. Anderson has not had much traffic to contend with. And the 4th Met base runner. And that's dribbled foul by Cabrera.
He hasn't had much traffic, and last year he was very stingy with the home run ball, only 14 and 141 and I think a 3rd innings pitched, but he's already given up 4 this year, so that's got to give your ball club hope if you're in the Mets dugout. you know, hit by pitch, home run, you're back in the game.
We've certainly got plenty of people capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark. It's like the wind has died down a little bit from what it was earlier, where it would be impossible to hit it out to right. Curveball fouled off, 0-2. Well, Chase Anderson and Zach Davies are supposed to be at the top of this rotation. Junior Garrett just made his first start of the year the other day. Brent Suter, interesting. We haven't seen him pitch against the Mets. Jolice Chassin goes tomorrow. Suter's a Harvard kid?
Yes. And, you know, I think that Milwaukee in the winter, they were the team that was in the Arrieta and Darvish talk.
Toward the hole, Villar's got it, and Thames gets back to the bag. And they get the out as Conforto moves to second. Well, they certainly needed to upgrade their pitching, but they didn't. Instead, they went out and they upgraded their outfield by signing Kane and trading for Yelich. Didn't exactly get over to cover first, did he? At least he didn't fall on his nose this time.
You know, that's just, they had this shift on, and that's just years and years. That's a base hit.
Yeah, it is.
And you know, it still hasn't, it doesn't click in automatically.
So the Mets got a runner into scoring position with 2 out. Cespedes is fouled out and struck out 0 for 2. Fouls that one off the right side. And that goes out of play.
I'd have to say, though, Keith, I taught myself, because of your positioning, how far you played off the line, that I taught myself anything to the right, I would get to first base. And there were ground balls that were just routine to the second baseman that I would be halfway to first base, because I did not want you to dive for a ball and have crickets at first base.
Flare, shallow right field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Conforto will come in with the Mets' first run. Cespedes with a little duck snort to get the Mets on the board. It's now 4-1.
Got jammed inside. Good pitch. And you better be lucky than good sometimes. 12th RBI, team leading 12 RBIs.
That's the slightest pinch of salt and pepper there.
Well, Cespedes barely hitting 200 overall, but he's now 6 for 13 with runners in scoring position as they look at Conforto's forearm, where he got drilled by Anderson. Brian Chicolo, the trainer, having a look. So the Mets are on the board. It's now 4-1. Here's Bruce, who's 0 for 2. A dozen RBIs for Cespedes. Only has 11 hits. They haven't all been rockets, but they all count. Let's try to do that again. Brewers getting their bullpen working now behind Anderson. And Bruce takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-2. Anderson's pitch count is still low, just 83. Jeremy Jeffress is up in the bullpen.
When you watch Anderson pitch, you very rarely see him overthrow, right? He's always composed, stays within himself.
One and 2 to Jay. Cespedes at first and 2 out. And Bruce goes down swinging on the cutter, and that ends the inning. 5 strikeouts for Anderson. Mets settle for just the 1 run. Cespedes gets a run in, but the Brewers up by 3 going to the 7th. Paul Sewald starts Lorenzo Cain with a slider. He pops it up in the middle of the infield, and Todd Frazier squeezes it. 1 pitch and 1 out in the 7th. Let's check in with the studio. Larry Ridley has another game break. Here come the Phillies. They're in 2nd place. 8-5.
Fighting Phils.
Eric Thames 0 for 3. Twice has been called out on strikes tonight, and he takes a strike from Sewald. Matt Harvey went 5, allowed 4 runs, 8 hits. Sewald has faced 4, retired them all. Hernan Perez, who came in for Ryan Braun, is out on deck for the Brewers. Its bullpen came into the night with a collective ERA of 1.57. Thames pops one up. Frazier should have plenty of room. 2 out. And yet, you know, Mickey Callaway is fully understanding of how fortunate his team has been with their bullpen, able to use their top-notch guys more often in the first 12 games than normal because of all the off days.
Yeah, of course. You know, at some point, and hopefully as the weather heats up, the starting pitching is going to have to get more outs to continue to throw those guys out there as often as they've been out there.
I mean, the one caveat with that, and what works in the Mets' favor, is you have 2 guys in Lugo and Kezelman who, while they can't necessarily pitch every day, they can give you multiple innings every few days, and that lengthens what you can get out of your pen on the days the starters aren't able to go deep.
The return of the long reliever, and it can come in a game and chew up some innings for you. Paul Sewald is also another guy that can do multiple innings.
Tucks it in the shoes. Never seen that before. Ties his shoe and then tried to tuck it in the shoe. Now, what happens, people always only assume in the games you win it's important, but in the games sometimes that you don't come back. Sewald, if he gets, 9 outs in this game, that's critical for tomorrow's game.
Right, then you save the other guys for the potential game-saving situations. Hernan Perez batting for the first time. Hit a 2-run homer last night. And he wouldn't bite on that slider, and it's 2-2. Travis Shaw would be next. 2-2 coming. And right back to Sewald. 2 perfect innings of relief for Paul Sewald to hold the fort. 7th inning stretch time, 4-1 Milwaukee. The other hit, as the Mets have been held in check for the first 6 innings by Chase Anderson. 4-1 Milwaukee as the Mets come up in the bottom of the 7th. Adrian Gonzalez has been up twice, grounded out both times. Anderson at 85 pitches for the night, and the first pitch curveball bends in for a strike. Gonzalez, then Frazier and Rosario for the Mets. Jeffress continues to throw in the Milwaukee bullpen. He was throwing while the Brewers were batting as well. Gonzalez pops it up into shallow left center. Sogard going out. Perez coming in to call, and Perez puts it away. 1 out. And here comes Craig Counsell out of the Milwaukee dugout, and he is taking Chase Anderson out of this game.
And this could open the.
And Anderson is not happy. He just slammed the rosin bag down. This is incomprehensible. He is sailing along. The only run he gave up was on a little flare of a single by Cespedes, completely dominating the Mets lineup, and he's out of the game with 8 outs left to get.
Wow.
Well, now we know why Jeffress kept throwing. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Mets have a chance now. We'll be right back. Brewers go to their bullpen. Jeremy Jeffress is in to face Todd Frazier with 1 out in the home 7th. Mets down 4-1.
Difficult on games like this. Jeffress' 3rd different stint with Milwaukee, having a fine go of it so far, but never underestimate. It's difficult for those relievers to come in a game where it's windy and cold after a hot pitcher's been pitching well.
Well, this is the 2nd time this week we've seen the opposition take out a pitcher that is just owning the Mets. You could almost understand it with Jarlin Garcia in Miami. It was his first major league start. Chase Anderson is the Brewers' ace, their opening day starter. He threw 87 pitches and was owning the Mets. I just don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but that's where we're at. You know, and that's where it's going and where it's been, and it's hard to take.
Gary, I just show up to work on time and go home.
Well, on time, I'll put that in quotation marks. Depends on the traffic. Jeffress is off to a good start this year. He's got a walk rate down early, but over the last few years, Nearly a walk every 2 innings. Toward the open side of the infield, and Frazier has himself a soft hit.
Here it comes.
Nobody playing on that side, and Frazier rolled it through for the Mets' 3rd hit of the night.
A little inside out right there.
Again, another base hit to right field. You know, just fighting that ball off.
I don't get it with 2 strikes how you could got to go to the opposite field a little bit with 2 strikes on a hitter.
Well, I think with Frazier they need to start looking at the results, because I think the book is changing on him.
Yeah.
Here's Rosario, who had an infield hit his last time up. That was the Mets' first hit. It came with 2 out in the 5th. And it skips into Bandy, pulls it out of the dirt. Ball 1. Jeremy Jeffress, now 30 years old, originally a 1st-round pick by the Brewers, but he has moved back and forth. Went to Kansas City, went to Texas. We got him back last year. One and 1 to Rosario.
I feel the same way I did when Harleen Garcia was taken out. It's almost like you're saying, okay, now the train might start moving. You know?
Well, you have to feel, if you're the offensive team, like you've been given a second life.
Well, how many times of games that I played and the manager came and pulled a pitcher and we're going, thank you.
Especially with the absence of Knebel, you know, who's hurt, to me.
Well, they've had trouble closing games. Matt Albers has gotten the save opportunities. Nimmo getting set for a pinch hitting appearance. 1-2 coming, and Rosario hits a double play ball right at Sogard. A turn by VR just in time to get Rosario, and that ends the inning. So the Brewers turn 2, and they lead 4-1 after 7. Or nothing. 8th inning, 4-1 Milwaukee. Paul Sewald, who's worked 2 perfect innings in relief, will go out there for a 3rd. He's thrown 30 pitches in his 2 innings. He threw 55 in an outing earlier this season. Travis Shaw leads off and takes outside for ball 1.
Well, it's not easy when you don't pitch a lot, Keith. Like Sewald to maintain his stuff. So far so good.
Shaw is 2 for 3 tonight. Tonight's starters brought to you by People's United Bank. Chase Anderson, wonderful for 6 1/3. Taken out after just 87 pitches. Matt Harvey gave up a couple of home runs and is on the hook in this game. And Shaw takes a fastball for a strike. Domingo Santana on deck, then Eric Sogard for the Brewers in the 8th.
Good 2-1 pitch.
How does a reliever who hasn't thrown in a very long time stay sharp? You can't go out there and work on things. You might be called in any day.
They do a lot of flat groundwork. You know, it's hard to, you know, they really can't go in the pen. I mean, they could go in there, I guess, because the Mets have had so many off days and do a little bit of work. But during the course of the season, all they really work on is with the fellow relievers playing catch. And you catch for each other and you work on spinning your breaking ball, and that's the only way you can work on it.
Isn't Sewald, though, the perfect guy for that? I mean, he keeps things so simple.
Yeah. You know, he tried to use a couple of changeups early on Shaw there. It didn't work out, but he's really mostly a 2-pitch pitcher.
He attacks the hitters. Ooh. It is beginning to get chilly. I have to call on our trusty stage manager, Russ Welkin, to get bring my top coat, please.
Bring your top coat. Where are you going to?
How about
the opera?
How about your cane and your top hat? Here's a 3-2, and he struck him out. Sewald goes away with the fastball as his 4th strikeout. Well, the evening is getting chillier. I just donned my raincoat, and now Keith.
Thank you, Russ.
His valet is here.
I'm getting cold.
So you've got the brown leather with the camel hair, with the purple sport coat, with the fuchsia pants.
Oh, yes. Russ, bring the car around, would you?
I like the purple jacket because it makes him look like Willy Wonka. All we need is the golden ticket.
Woo, it's cold.
We've had a request, Keith. The truck would like to see the pants
that
go with this outfit.
I love them.
What color would you call that?
Purple.
Exactly? Plum.
Oh, well.
Santana with a wild swing. He's down on strikes. And so Sewald just wearing him out. He's retired 8 in a row with 5 strikeouts. It's a nice look, Keith. I hope you have a nice day off tomorrow.
I will.
You'll be thinking about me and Ronnie sitting here in much colder weather than tonight.
Well, I know I'm going to work out in the morning. Mid-morning. About when you arrive at the park, I'll be at the gym, Garrett.
I'll be thinking about you. There's Sogard is 0 for 3, and he takes a slider for a strike.
Tomorrow you might have to eschew the mimosa and go straight to the hot toddy, though. At brunch.
And the off-speed pitch for a strike. So Sewald mixing in a few of those change-ups, and he gets ahead on Sogard 0-2. The hard-throwing lefty Josh Hader is up in the bullpen for the Brewers. Sewald pops Sogard inside, 1-2. There's Hader. Fit right in on this stuff with the hair.
Ooh, whirling dervish. Great stuff.
One-two coming. And the slider misses down, 2-2. Well, what a burden taken off the Mets bullpen if Sewald can get through a 3rd inning here. Two-two. Sogard just gets a piece to hang in there. 2-2 coming. Lofted foul deep down the right field line.
You know, when you throw that back foot slider, well, you want to start it down the middle, and then you want to break it down and in. He was trying to throw a backdoor slider and just held on to it too long. But the back foot slider, you want to start it down the middle and then pull it in.
Sogard pops this one up into shallow right, and in comes Bruce. 3 perfect innings of relief for Paul Sewald. 9 up, 9 down with 5 strikeouts. That's down 4-1 in the 8th. Thousand fans in attendance will receive a Mets youth baseball glove courtesy of Coca-Cola Plus. All kids 12 and under can run the bases post-game in the Mr. Met Dash presented by Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Double switch for the Brewers as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Orlando Arcia comes in to play shortstop. He'll bat 9th, and the hard-throwing lefty Josh Hader is on to pitch.
You know, we talked about Domingo Santana coming over from Houston in that trade for Gomez. So did Josh Hader, who had 68 punch-outs last year and 47 2/3 innings of work for Milwaukee.
Juan Lagares bats for Jose Lobaton, leading off the bottom of the 8th, and takes a slider low and in for ball 1. So Lagares pinch hitting here. Wilmer Flores on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher as the Mets unleash their bench here in the 8th inning, trying to come from behind. Mets got their only run in the 6th on a Cespedes RBI hit. And a nasty slider by Hader. A ball and a strike.
Josh Hader to me is almost like Chris Sale light when you watch him pitch. Good fastball, changeup, and breaking ball.
24 years old. 6th outing of the season. And with their closer Corey Knebel out for probably another month with a hamstring injury. There's been talk about Hader closing games, but that is not the game plan, at least not yet, for Milwaukee. Matt Albers has been doing the closing. It's been a rough go, though, for that Milwaukee bullpen, finishing games with Knebel out. 1-2 coming, and Lagares takes the fastball inside 2-2. Chase Anderson went 6 1/3, allowed a run on 2 hits. Jeremy Jeffress got 2 outs in the 7th. And now Hader in the 8th. Alonso Robles up in the Mets bullpen after Sewald gave the Mets 3 magnificent innings in relief of Matt Harvey. And Lagares goes down on strikes to start the bottom of the 8th.
Well, you're getting nothing but hard stuff off this guy. He's just coming right at you.
Now it's Wilmer. And the Mets rallied in Miami on Wednesday night. Wilmer had an RBI double in the midst of that 4-run 8th. He takes a slider for a strike. That's running out of outs to play with. Down by 3 in the 8th. Flores takes in tight. We mentioned the Milwaukee bullpen and the struggles they've had in the absence of Corey Knebel. They have 7 blown saves already this year. No other major league team has more than 4. So Craig Counsell has tried to patch it together as best he can. Fouled back by Flores, and Hader arguably has been his best weapon. And it makes you wonder whether they'd even consider letting him throw 2 innings and finish this game.
Pitch count
8. Doesn't seem like a lot. Michael Conforto on deck. 1-2 to Flores, and he struck him out with a fastball. So Hader, as advertised, blows away the first 2 hitters.
So this young man right here, you have to get a little more set and crouched and get ready to hit. He's rushing it up there.
He's got 19 punch outs already this year. More than some starting pitchers.
19 strikeouts and 8 in the 3rd inning.
That's right.
So here is Conforto, who was hit on the forearm by a pitch his last time up and scored the only Mets run. He's 0 for 2. And takes a fastball for a strike.
This has got to be one of the toughest at bats for any lefty in baseball, right, Hader?
Got to look for that ball away and hit that line drive over the shortstop's head.
And quickly 0-2.
Right here, Keith.
Ooh. There's certain pitchers that I faced that I had to get a little more crouched, my hands a little further back, because they threw bullets. He'd be one of them.
And that somehow just missed. One and 2. Josh Hader from Millersville, Maryland, throws a 1-2, and Conforto takes a slider off the plate. 2-2. So he was a hometown pick by the Orioles, 19th round draft pick out of high school in 2012.
Kicking themselves now.
Two coming. And Conforto goes down on strikes, and Hader strikes out the side in the bottom of the 8th. That was impressive. Josh Hader, force of nature. We go to the 9th, 4-1 Milwaukee. battery in the game. Tomas Nido comes in to catch, and Hansel Robles will pitch the top of the ninth.
And Robles has been outstanding. 10 strikeouts in his 5 innings of work.
Last pitch Tuesday night in Miami, a scoreless inning. Jonathan VR, who delivered the big blow in this game, leads off in the 9th inning. VR with 2 aboard in the 2nd inning, hit a fly ball down the left field line that on most nights probably would have gone foul and not quite reached the corner, but on this night it was a 3-run homer.
Yes, it was.
It put Matt Harvey in an early hole from which the Mets have never been able to extricate themselves.
Shocked all of us here in the booth, and I'm sure it shocked Matt on the field.
Might have shocked VR too.
It's a good pitch, fastball down and away, and you know, sometimes you got to tip your hat. I was stunned that that ball went out.
First home run of the year for VR, and he takes strike 3 called, so 3 pitches, and Robles disposes of him. That's the 12th strikeout for Met pitchers tonight. Bullpen's been perfect so far, 10 up and 10 down. But the Mets have gotten very little done on the offensive end because Chase Anderson was tremendous, and Josh Hader so far has been overwhelming. And there's nobody up in the Milwaukee bullpen, so Hader may be asked to finish this game. Doesn't sound like a bad choice. Here's Jet Bandy, who delivered a home run in the 4th inning. And Robles throws one by him, 0-1. Tonight, Geico Sports Night, 11 o'clock. All the Major League Baseball, Knicks news as well with their season over and their coach history. Couple of upstairs fastballs, and Robles quickly has a 2-strike count. Orlando Arcia is sitting in the number 9 spot. He's out on deck for Milwaukee. And Bandy pops one foul, backing out of play. Now, Robles has been really good since coming back from Vegas. Struck out 12 batters now in 5 2/3 innings. That one will go out of play right in front of us.
A little work for Tomas Nido as you see Arcia on deck, who is slated to start tomorrow's game, catching Noah Syndergaard.
Would you characterize Syndergaard as being easy to catch or hard to catch?
I would say that despite throwing 100, he hits his spots. So, you know, it's not like you're diving around trying to block balls in the dirt all game. He has great control for a guy that throws that hard.
Nasty looking slider from Robles to strike out Bandy, and the strikeouts just keep on coming. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by People's United Bank. No mascot, but lots of fans. Member FDIC. By the Mets bullpen jackpot sweepstakes from the New York Lottery. Go to sny.tv/New York Lottery to enter. And by Toyota, visit the local Toyota dealer or buyatoyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. There's Orlando Arcia up for the first time, 0 for 3 last night, and bends out of the way of a slider for ball 1. In the 9th inning, the Mets will have Cabrera, Cespedes, and Bruce coming up, and it looks like Josh Hader is going to get the call to try to get a 6-out save. All right, foul by Arcia, and it's 1-1. Hader does not have a big league save. He was in 35 games last year. His 6th outing this year. But the way he looked in the 8th, why wouldn't you let him? Right. Arcia cracks one to deep left field. Cespedes takes a look, but that ball is gone. Orlando Arcia goes deep for his first home run of the year. The Brewers' 3rd home run of the night. And now it's 5-1 Milwaukee. Arcia hit 15 last year. his first this season. The Brewers have hit 6 home runs in the first 2 games of this series, accounting for all 10 runs now that they've scored.
Well, this fastball just got the middle of the plate, which is something that Hansel can do. He's a hard thrower. Let's watch the full extension of the arms. Means the ball's out over the plate.
And Lorenzo Cain has to turn out of the way of the slider.
Wow, come off the bench and hit a bomb on a cold night.
So the middle infielders for the Brewers, VR and Arcia, each hitting their first home run of the year tonight.
No, nothing wrong with that swing.
Poked out to right. Bruce coming over, and that retires the side. But another home run off a Brewer bat. Arcia goes deep. 5-1 as the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the ninth. Tri-State dealers, Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. That's 9-game winning streak in serious jeopardy as they come to bat in the bottom of the ninth against Josh Hader, who struck out the side in the 8th, looking for his first major league save. As Dribble Cabrera 0 for 3 tonight, struck out, flied out, grounded out against Chase Anderson. Anderson in line for his first victory of the season after going 12-4 last year. Mets will have Syndergaard tomorrow in the final game of this series. And Cabrera watches one on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Yoenis Cespedes on deck, and then Jay Bruce. It's been 13 days since the Mets lost a game. Hooked down the left field line, foul. Their only loss of the season came in the last game of the first series of the year, the Sunday afternoon game against the Cardinals, and they lost that game 5-1.
It's a home run ball got him in that game too, didn't it? Molina hit a home run in that game.
I guess Matz, yeah, gave up 2 home runs in that game.
Tommy Pham, maybe.
Yep. Two from Hader. And he struck him out. Wow. A fastball by Cabrera. 4 batters, 4 strikeouts for Josh Hader. 1 down in the 9th.
Just overpowering.
That's thrown right by him right there.
Interesting. His right knuckle or finger is cut. I don't know how he cut it in his glove. Has nothing to do with his pitching, of course, but.
Cespedes has driven in the only Mets run tonight with a bloop single in the 6th. 1 for 3. And the slider from Hader had him fishing.
Yeah, well, Cespedes was paying attention. He said, I'm going to go first ball fastball hitting here. And he dropped a hammer on him in the dirt.
Mets have had just 3 hits tonight. And none of them was particularly well struck. Rosario hit one past the mound for an infield hit in the 5th. Cespedes hit that little flare that fell in to drive in a run in the 6th, and then Frazier rolled one through the open side of the infield in the 7th, and that's been it. Oh-2 from Hader, and he strikes out Cespedes.
What's going on
5
here?
batters, 5 strikeouts for Hader, and the Mets are down to their final out of the night.
Well, what's going on is Hader's going on.
Well, that's right by him.
I mean, look at the stride. That's where the other pitchers were. He throws a little bit across his body.
It's a Randy Johnson kind of a stride.
It really is.
Goodness gracious.
I said Chris Sale just because he pitches now, but it is Randy Johnson.
There's Jay Bruce, where the Mets down to their final out. He takes a slider for a strike. Tomorrow afternoon, final game of the series. Noah Syndergaard against Jalees Chassin. Coverage begins at 12:30 tomorrow, right here on SNY. Bruce flies one out to center field. Lorenzo Cain comes in. And the Mets' 9-game winning streak has come to an end. Josh Hader picks up his first major league save. Chase Anderson goes 6 1/3 for the win. The Mets are held to 3 singles, and the Mets will have to start another winning streak tomorrow as they lose just for the 2nd time in 13 outings this year, 5-1.
Not much to say about this game. The Brewers got on top early with a 3-run home run from VR off Harvey. Harvey gave up another home run later. Hansel Robles gave up one, and the pitching wasn't up to Chase Anderson and Hader late.
Well, Met fans, do not despair. They weren't going to win every game the rest of the year. This was just a red-hot Met lineup that was shut down tonight. You see it, just 3 hits. Tip your hat. The sun will rise tomorrow.
Well, Chase Anderson pitched brilliantly, and then somehow he got outshone by his own reliever, Josh Hader, who faced 6, retired them all, struck out 5 to get his first big league save, and the Mets fall to 11-2. That's the game summary presented by the Lincoln Motor Company. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.